All right, and hello. Once again, I'm the Confused Modernist, live to you from Seattle, Washington. And today we are going to discuss this shocking revelation. I was getting ready to run a beta test of 1D&D for my friends who wanted to try the Spelljammer, because we just watched one of the greatest pirate movies of all time, Cutthroat Island, which is great. And as a confirmed feminist, I have butchered my penis to stand strong with Gina Davis and other feminists out there. And I really want to tell you that for those of you that don't understand what this movie means to me, Cutthroat Island is chock full of lots of money and explosions, and there was a great set piece or two, and there's even some characterization, so you actually get like all the bits of the movie that you should. And you need to watch this movie because it's just a good movie. But I wanted to have a Cutthroat Island in space because that's what you would want to have Gary do for your campaign. And I thought I would run Spelljammer in the beta test for 1D&D. And I want to thank my friend V for giving me a free Dungeon Master's screen. The last one I had was burned by my previous table because I hit them for damage and I beat them on initiative, and they burned my Dungeon Master screen like a Wendy's in Kenosha. Okay, now that we've said that, I want to tell you that my roommates, about half of the apartment have fled for more diverse and inclusive pastures because they said we're all just a bunch of white people living together and we can't do that. We need to include other people of other diverse, inclusive backgrounds into our livelihoods. So they're currently at the homeless shelter, and I think they're going to be fine. I do. So I was going to run Spelljammer, and I was even going to introduce a special DM character that would be thoroughly unkillable and everybody would like him, and he would be just like Jar Jar Binks, but he would be this little thing like a Yazirian, or for you Dungeons and Dragons nerds, I'm a Star Frontiers guy. He would be a Hardozee. And I was getting ready to write this up. And then the official statement came out. I can't believe this. I can't believe this at all. Wizards, why do you do this to me? Why not just give me a brand new laptop, and what I will do, or a brand new laptop. That way I can run your 1D&D on the go instead of having to use my refrigerator-sized tower unit and hurt my back if I want to go places. Though, September 2nd, that was yesterday. Go away. We want to acknowledge and own the inclusion of offensive material within our recent Spelljammer adventures and space content. We failed you, our players, and our fans, and we are truly sorry. I want to cry. The campaign includes a people called Hardozees, which first appeared in 1982. Regrettably, not all portions of the content relating to Hardozees were properly vetted before appearing in most of our recent release. As we continue to learn and grow through every situation, we recognize that to live our values, we have to do better. Do better! That's what Captain America said to the white guy in that TV show on Disney+. Do better. Throughout the 50-year history of Dungeons & Dragons, the greatest RPG ever, they omitted that. They needed to put that in right there. This is the game that Gary would play. Some of the characters in the game have been monstrous and evil, using descriptions that are painfully reminiscent of how real-world groups have continue to be denigrated. We understand the urgency of changing how we work to better ensure a more inclusive game. Because if you don't have a table that's at least 50% POC, or at least people not born like you, or if your table's filled with nothing but cis white males, you need to split that table up and go experience some diversity, because you might be missing out on something at the table. I moved to Seattle after I'd moved to Portland, And I had to move away from Portland because people kept stealing my tablets I was using to run games with. I had all my PDFs on there. I never buy books. I don't ever buy books. A confused modernist would never buy books because that means I have to chop down trees and then I have to pay for petroleum for the shipping and handling. That's just bad. I'm waiting completely for the Joe Biden stimulus package to where we all can have an electric car. And the only cars on the road, the only vehicles on the road will be coal trucks. Just these huge semis with coal in the back so they can power our Teslas. And then the rest of us will be driving Teslas or on little hoverboards or some other non-offensive, non-pollutant vehicle, because that's just the way it would be. And it will be, you'll have about a 10-mile radius you can live in and work in and go to the store in. And if you go to the store on one of your scooters, you have to have a big basket because otherwise you're going to destroy your battery and not be able to run from the store back to your home, back to your apartment. You need to have about 20 pounds or less of baggage with you. So you're going to do about 31 trips to the store every week. If you're like us on diabetes medications and trying to get away from having to use a petroleum-fired vehicle, because that's just bad. And it's not fair because there are people in other parts of the world that don't get the chance to do such a thing, like role play or drive a car. It's just... Listen, we are trying our best, and we have given every ounce of our Patreon money to those people in necessary starving countries. We need those kids in Africa to make the lithium batteries for us. They're the only ones that can survive the amount of radiation their bodies are bathed in for another year or two. Okay. A more inclusive game is what we want. A more inclusive society is what we want. Diversity is your strength. Effective immediately, we will remove the offensive content about Hardozees in our digital versions. And then we will also send IRS agents out to go visit those people with those pesky in-person games to just talk to them about their praise of certain things like, Milton Friedman or Trump or Thomas Sowell. And we're going to get rid of those hurtful words that are in the books that were printed too. These will no longer be included in future reprints of the book. Do you understand that? They will no longer be there. Hard media is bad. You need to let us take over and just program your tablet with all the things that we need to fill your brain with, because that's important. Our priority is to make things right when we make mistakes. And in addition, we've initiated a thorough internal review of the situation, and we'll take the necessary actions as a result of that review. I really hope they don't review anything in Star Frontiers, because I really like Star Frontiers. Star Frontiers is an amazing game. And it was the first real D&D game in space. As much as I like Spelljammer, Star Frontiers did it first. We are eternally grateful for the ongoing dialogue with the Dungeons & Dragons community. We look forward to introducing new, engaging, and inclusive content for D&D for generations to come. D&D teaches that diversity is strength, and for only a diverse group of adventurers can overcome the many challenges a D&D story presents. And in that spirit, we're committed to making D&D as welcome and inclusive as possible. And this part of our work will never end. Could you imagine having a job that will never end? That's like being a union worker. Oh, if only. Well, my name is the Confused Modernist, and I'm looking forward to helping you. My job will never end as I attempt to bring more and more of Antonio Gramsci's vision and dreams to your reality and ruin those things that destroyed America as a fledgling nation. And look at us now. We're battling back. We're trying to push back. We need everybody to get into renewable energy, and we need people to just love and embrace the windmills. Don't worry about things like freeze or winter. We'll take care of it. Don't worry, guys. And don't worry about things like, food costs or inflation. It's just transitory, right? And for everybody out there, I just want you just to keep in mind that this is all satire, and we're going to just make sure that everybody has the most inclusive and happy conclusion possible to one D&D. And maybe they'll ship it in a magenta box just to remind you that they are the original trademark owners, those people in Hasbro wasn't two guys in a garage. We built this hobby, not them.